And so, beloved masters, change is inevitable. And when there is change, very often people begin to feel fear. And so the finite mind has decided that if you're truly courageous, you have no fear. And there have been T-shirts and caps and hoodies and all manner of clothing made up that says no fear. But the truth is, courage is not the absence of fear, but the passion and the determination to keep moving through the fear to find out what's on the other side. Because fear is not a dead-end road. Fear is a part of the leftovers from the illusion. It isn't real. It has been a collective mind control game. And more changes are happening in the collective mind, the mind that everyone on the planet shares. And people have believed that they think in their head, and the truth of it is that you really do more processing of thought in your solar plexus than you do in your cranial brain. But people believe they think in their head, and that if someone knows what they're thinking, they're, quote unquote, reading their mind. But each one of you broadcasts the energy of your thoughts and emotions through your solar plexus. The solar plexus is like a great sending and receiving station. And therefore, people generally are putting out energy, thought forms, emotional patterns that will give some idea of what they're thinking, what they're planning, where they're going. And the finite mind has decided to be afraid of what it does not understand. Someone who speaks a different language can strike terror in the hearts of some. Someone who has a different religious consideration can bring fear. The current political affairs of the United States, which is in many ways like an infection that is spreading throughout the planet. For people don't understand what is going on. But it isn't to be caught in the fear, to allow the fear to paralyze or immobilize, but to remember that on the other side of the fear, there are new, amazing, wonderful, expansive things that are waiting for you. So Fear is not something to be avoided. It isn't something that you must fight. Because fear is an illusion, beloved masters, and if you decide to fight it, you're grabbing at shadows. You may flee through the night, fearing that you are being chased by a monster, until you become so exhausted that you finally stop and turn around to see what this huge shadow that was chasing you is, only to find it was a little white dog that wanted to be a friend. Ain't nothing what it seems. So, having the courage, the passion, the persistence to move through the fear, meet it, step into it energetically. This is not a physical thing we're talking about. When we say step into fear, when you feel the fear in your solar plexus, you most generally tighten your stomach. So to move through the fear, take a deep breath, relax, and stay present with yourself. That assists you to align your mind, to slow your heart rate, to even out your breathing, to ease the adrenaline rush of fear, and that allows you to bring your energy to center, to the solar plexus. And when you are centered, it's much easier to deal with fear. In fact, as you align with yourself, as you get centered, you can connect with a deep sense of calm that awaits you when you stop trying to run away from the fear or to combat it. When you meet it, surround yourself with the violet flame, indwell yourself with the violet flame, and feel the calming, transforming, transmuting energy of the violet flame, opening the way through the fear, as though suddenly you are walking a path of peace through all of the flurry of energy that fear brings up. The doubts, the panic began to move away like shadows in light. And it allows you to tap into your own true presence, your connection with the God force. Quietly, calmly, clearly. Everything about your energy comes into alignment. The fear doesn't disappear. It doesn't go away. But, beloved masters, when you are present with yourself, aligned clearly with your connection to the divine, then you understand and you appreciate that you are a master who has dominion over fear. Not power over or control over, but dominion. You are a master, and you have the say-so of what occurs in your world when you are aligned within. And when I say that, it doesn't mean you get to demand that the world complies and gives you anything you please. It means that you have the calm, clear, quiet perspective that allows you to create, to design the world as you desire it. And so, beloved masters, to feel that connection, your dominion over fear, the courage that allows you to move through the fear, not blindly flailing through fear, terrified and running forward without knowing where you're going. That isn't being at one with yourself at all. But being connected to yourself, and through the sacred space in the center of your being, feeling that stillness that the connection to the God force brings. I am that I am. Everywhere in God's creation, there is dark and light. There are positive and negative polarities. And they were designed by God for balance. In a world where the ego mind has attempted to take control of everything, in particular, the essence of nature, the mind has said, light is good, darkness is bad. Man is light. Woman is dark. And the ego mind has set the stage for conflict. The good guys are fighting the bad guys. that allows you to appreciate the finer instincts in yourself. Not just, oh, goodness, and no badness, but a blending of light and dark. And balance in the universe is not the scales sitting perfectly still with both sides equal. Balance is always a subtle shift and change of the energy. In these times on the planet, the negative forces have moved into, shall we say, the weightier side of humanity's focus. And it is where you focus your attention that designs the balance in your life. Where you focus your attention brings the balance in your life, because the balance for you is an internal situation. It really isn't what's going on out there. What's going on out there in the world is simply a mirrored reflection of what you are entertaining within yourself. What the collective mind is primarily focused on. Even if you are not watching the news, even if you are not discussing politics, even if you have no particular interest in conflict, you still are part of the collective mind. And that connection, which cannot be disconnected, puts you in touch with the things that are going on that you can't control, because it is not the assigned job of any human being on this planet, even if they are a president or a prime minister or a dictator. It isn't the job of any human being on this planet to control the lives of others. That upsets the balance. And there are people on the planet right now that are taking the life of other human beings and calling it for the good of the planet. So, what is a good person? Well, you do the right thing. What is, beloved masters, the right thing? What is the wrong thing? Right and wrong are judgments of the illusion, and the illusion is passing. And humanity is being called energetically to feel the balance within their sacred space, in the solar plexus, It isn't physical. It isn't mental. It can be somewhat swayed by emotion, but primarily feeling the balance within your sacred space is a spiritual connection. Everyone has it. So it isn't something that's only provided for good people. And bad people can't have it. There are those who are intuitively connected in such a way that they can read energy, but it doesn't necessarily follow that they will utilize what they discover in a positive way. So, masters, and all our masters, make choices. Every choice that anyone makes, every choice, is a master's choice. Because everyone is a master. Why do you suppose that they call criminals masterminds? Because it is the same energy, the same tools that God gave everyone to create with. But the choice of how to use those tools, for some, has been that they would use those tools for war and conflict, for power over and control, for their own devices, because they are so cut off from the love of God that they don't believe that they can achieve a good life without having to take advantage of other people. People are born with an innate understanding within themselves. Children feel it intrinsically. They know without anyone having to tell them that they've done something wrong. They may not know exactly what it is, but they feel that they've made a mistake. And it is up to the big people not to punish the child so that all that they can feel or focus on is guilt and shame, but to help the child understand that feeling a sense of something wrong within them is, in many ways, a safety device. It tells them that they are, by their choices, perhaps moving in a direction that isn't safe or appropriate, that possibly could lead to unfortunate outcomes. And when the children are directed, assured that when they feel something is out of alignment, it isn't to judge it as bad and try to avoid it as much as it is to find out what is causing them to feel as though something is out of balance, out of harmony, so that they can learn to trust that internal warning device that says, this is probably not the appropriate direction for you to take. That action, that reaction, that emotional outburst, that temper tantrum, that need to dominate others, that bullying tactic is probably not going to give you the best future. So that as children, they can learn to trust the warning without being so intimidated, indoctrinated, blinded by guilt and shame that the big people will pour on them, you're a bad person, you've done a bad thing, you need to be punished. And so the ego mind has turned humanity away from the natural, the things of nature, your natural connection and understanding to your own personal ability as a creator. To understand and appreciate that warnings can be very helpful, so that you can look at the path you're on. Children don't necessarily logic things, but they certainly feel. And so for them to understand that when it feels happy in their tummy, that is a good direction, a good choice, and it will make them happier still. And when they feel that something is off balance, to really consider, how are you acting? What are you saying? Are you attempting to bring pain? Are you trying to hurt other people? Because that warning within is saying, if you keep bringing pain to others, you are also bringing it to yourself, because they are you. The bombers, even though they may die by their own attempts to be destructive, have still set up karmic patterns that they cannot escape. Because in these times, there is much karma from the illusion that requires to be balanced, and wiping out the population of the planet is not going to bring harmony, even though there are leaders and potential leaders that believe to abuse, to destroy, to bring pain and suffering makes them better leaders, and yet they can never escape the karma of the pain that they create. For if you seek to injure others deliberately, then it will surely return to you.